All right, it's a beautiful Saturday morning, and you're welcome to the live broadcast of Election Watch Ekiti Decides 2018. I am Femi Ayodele. I'm joined by my co-host, the guy who usually intimidates me with his stature and height, John.
A very good morning to our esteemed viewers this morning. The D-Day is here, yes, and we can't actually wait to get set for Ekiti Decides 2018. A very good morning. My name is John Felix.
All right, the casters died, the stage is set, and all attention is on Ekiti State this time around. In few minutes, the registration will kick off, and Ekiti State is paraded to be one of the most educated states in Nigeria. Is reputed to have the highest number of professors, highest number of PhD holders in Nigeria.
Perhaps we expect that this will also translate in the elections, hoping that there won't be rancor, there won't be violence. We expect that the level of professionalism and the education status they all have will be put to play in this election. And just to mention this, the international community, the observers, everyone is actually putting a close look to this particular election. For who? We don't know, but as the day goes on, we would eventually get to know why this election is so important.
All right, I must let you know that Galaxy TV is prepared to give you the best of broadcast as regards this election. And I must let you know that our correspondents are on ground in Ekiti State. They will be giving us the first-hand account of what is happening in Ekiti. And any moments from now, they will call in to tell us what is happening in Ekiti. Now, before we start the discussion proper, I must let you know that we have a lot in stock for you. Steph is standing by. She's going to give us some updates. She's going to give us some facts about Ekiti and some things you need to know about this election. Steph, over to you. Good morning, Steph.
Thank you so much, Femi. Today, the 14th of July, is one that the people of Ekiti have been waiting for. It is time for the people to decide who governs them for the next 4 years. Right now, we'll be looking at some of the promises the Ekiti people are voting for, the security presence, the senatorial districts, and of course, the census of the people, basically provisions put in place for this election to run as smoothly as possible. Of course, INEC has told us they've distributed the sensitive materials. They've also told us that they have electric monitors monitoring the vehicles, how they move about in the state and everything. So we know that INEC is ready for the election. Moving on from that, now let's focus on the local government areas in Ekiti State and, of course, the people, the gubernatorial candidates for the local government elections. Now, this is the census of Ekiti State as of 2006. And of course, we have a projection here, 2016, what is expected, what so far has gone on, because I mean, there's mortality and, mortality rate in Ekiti State, people might have died as of the 2006 census. Now we have Ado Ekiti polling the highest number of people. We have over 313,690 people based in Ado Ekiti. Ado Ekiti is the capital of Ekiti State and happens to be the biggest town in Ekiti State. As of 2016, the projection is that their number should have increased to 427,700 people. The second local government area with the highest population is Ijero local government area with 302,500 people there. Moving to Ikere with 202,500. So you can see that this is the census, and at the end of the day, when we break it down, we're going to be looking at this local government areas, how many people are there. This will analyze, the census basically is what's going to determine how many people vote. Now, somewhere like Ado Ekiti that has the highest number of population, we would like to think that the PVCs collected in that town would be higher than every other place in Ekiti State. So apart from that, we're also looking at the fact that some of the gubernatorial candidates who come from this local government will have their own people coming out to vote for them. Again, we have to also look at the demographics of youths, male and female. We have to also look at youths. And apparently it says that 43% of the people who registered for the voting this year are youths. So if you have the youth in your corner, at least you have about, give or take, a lot of the votes will be coming down to you. Now we have There are a total of 16 local government areas grouped into 3 zones. Ekiti, the 3 senatorial districts of Ekiti State are Ekiti North, Ekiti Central, Ekiti South. Remember that when Fayose was contesting last year, he beat Fayemi 16-0. He won all the local government areas, and we'll be hoping that that will not play out this year. I mean, there should be fair distribution of parties. In Ekiti North, we have Ikole, Oye, Idosi, Moba, and Ileje-Meje in Ekiti North. So we're hoping that some of the gubernatorial candidates from here will be able to poll as much votes as they can get from their native towns before they can even move to get from other places. It would be wrong for you to be beaten from where you are from. That would not be nice. So we hope that as much as they've campaigned, they'll be able to at least get their own indigents to support them. In Ekiti Central, we have Ado Ekiti, Irepodu, Ijeru, F1, Ekiti West. Remember that I said that Ado Ekiti and Ijeru own the largest number of people, citizenry in that area, and they are under the same senatorial district, Ekiti Central. So we do hope that the gubernatorial candidates have done their best in getting what they require. Okay, we're looking at the number of collected PVCs for 2018. We have over 630,000 collected PVCs, and total number of registered voters 913. But basically, the number we'll be looking at is the 630,000 voters who have collected the PVCs, because if you don't have your PVC, you definitely cannot vote in this election. INEC has actually told citizens of Ekiti State, if you have not collected your PVC, you have no business at the polling booth today. So stay at home. If you know you have no PVCs, do not go to the polling booths. If not, well, we can't say what will happen. I think there's an order for security personnel to look out for those without their PVCs so that they won't be allowed to the polling booths. We're also trying to make sure that there's no rigging of election in Ekiti State, so I think that's why the rule is out. Now, the ad hoc staff of INEC is 11,000. We have 11,000 INEC staff standing on ground to attend to people. So we do hope that INEC is doing the best that they can do to make sure that the election runs as smoothly as possible. All right, here now we have the gender distribution. As of 2006, the total number of males in Ekiti State was 1.2 million, while females was 1.18 million. Now, the age distribution of all of this, youths, as I said again, are the highest number of people in the state. We have over 464,898 people that are youths between the age of 20 to 29 years. And of course, we know that from this demograph is a demograph for voting in the state. Now we have from 30 to 39 years, we have 277,000. 40 to 49 years, we have 209,000. 50 to 59 years, we have 126,000. 60 to 69, we have 77,000. So all these statistics here is just breaking down how the votes will go. So if you have the youths in your corner, and then of course you have the middle-aged members in your corner who make up the majority of the civil service and all of that, we know that these are the people to get for the vote. So we do hope again that the gubernatorial candidates have narrowed down their campaign promises to this demographic of youth, women, and men within the ages of 20 to 69 years. Moving on from that, we'll focus on security. As we said earlier, we've talked about this a lot of times since the show started. Over 30,000 police personnel are going to be present at Ekiti State for this election. Also remember that according to the IG of Police, there's the rules about the Commissioner of Police, the AIG, the people who are going to be in charge controlling all the other police staff. We have helicopter jets there. We have so many things all prepared for this election. So now, on the election today in Ekiti State, the amount of security personnel deployed for this election, one of the things we'll be looking at, the competency of the INEC staff, and many more. All we can do now is watch as Ekiti decides who governs them for the next 4 years. Over to you, Femi and John.
All right, how's the wonderful presentation by Steph? John, I find this amazing. Number of policemen deployed to Ekiti. In 2014, we had 18,000. Now it's over 30,000. What does that suggest to you?
Perhaps at this point, just like I stated earlier, the focus is on Ekiti State, and putting into consideration that it is just located, the election is situated in Ekiti at this particular point. The presidency, stakeholders, they are not leaving any stone unturned to ensure that things actually go out well. So for me, the 30,000, as the case may be, might be in order, but as we progress today and as we progress today, actually, we're going to see, okay, how this is going to play out if the 30,000 policemen, the 4,390 army officials will be justified, the 500 Federal Road Safety Corps will be justified, the men of the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps will be justified. So for us today, we're going to look at, okay, what will be the end result of this figure of police officers, of army officers, how it's going to play out will be what will determine if truly it is justified.
I think it's just like a case of when you have too much meat in a stew and not having none. Which one is preferable? So I think the police authority have defended that. They said it's better if it is over-defended than under-defended, and I think that has been the case. So let's see how this will play out. Before we start this discussion proper, we'll take a short break. I'll be right back to continue with our plans for today. Stay with us.
The stakeholders meeting organized by the Independent National Electoral Commission to fine-tune strategies ahead of today's election ended abruptly. This is due to the inability of party faithfuls to maintain decorum. What ought to have been an avenue for critical stakeholders' engagement was cut short as all key players left in annoyance without any concrete resolution. In his remark, the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, reaffirmed the Commission's readiness to conduct a free, fair and credible election in the state, while dismissing allegations that some politicians will use the uncollected permanent voter card to read the poll. He gave the sequence for the results sheet at the polling units.
Transparency. All uncollected PVCs after Wednesday from all the 16 local government areas will be brought to our headquarters in Ekiti, and they will be warehoused under the control of the resident electoral commissioner until after the elections. No card will eventually slip through and end in the hands of unauthorized persons. Furthermore, after the votes have been sorted out and counted, a copy of the result sheets at each polling unit, the Form EC-8A, will be given to party agents as we have always done.
Also present at the forum, heads of security agencies.
Okay. All right, now we are now being joined live by my colleague Kunle Ojo, reporting from Ekiti State. Mr. Kunle, how are you this morning?
John, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to you all. John, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning.
Exactly at this point.
We are in okay. I'm presented in Eleyimi compound, Ward 6. In Eleyimi compound, Ward 6. As you can see behind me here, we have the voters on ground. Even before the arrival of electoral officers and ad hoc officers of the Independent National Electoral Commission, they've been here. The materials arrived this particular unit about 20 minutes ago, but the voters have been around before the arrival of the materials. The environment is cool and calm. Voters are anxious and they are eager for the commencement of today's exercise. There have been massive deployment of security around this place. Since we've been here, we've been seeing the movement of security men with their equipment moving up and down in this particular environment. So I can report to you that this particular polling unit is cool and calm, and voters, they are ready to go.
Around the polling unit and the polling booth, do we have INEC officials on ground at the moment?
I can confirm to you that the officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission that will conduct the election in this particular unit, they arrived about 20 minutes. The election in this particular unit, they arrived about 20 minutes ago. As I'm speaking with you, they are setting up their equipment and other materials for the exercise to commence at 8 o'clock as scheduled by the Independent National Electoral Commission.
accreditation will start by 8 o'clock as scheduled.
With what I have on ground here, with what I have on ground here, I can say that the accreditation will start because we have the INEC ad hoc staff here, the materials is here. Also, the officials of the security men rider, they are also on ground to ensure that everything go on as scheduled by the Electoral Commission.
Tell us the situation of things in other wards or other locations you've been to apart from where you are presently.
One of the when we move from our hotel to before we get to this place, we branch out to one of the council area where the materials are supposed to be moved to other polling units. By the time we were there, nobody was there, and everything has been moved from that place to various polling units in Ekiti here. So with these developments, the exercise will start as scheduled. The street is practically empty, although we have few movements of voters from one place or the other. People are doing their last-minute movements to their various polling units in Ekiti here. So with these developments, the election is good to go as voters are ready to cast their votes.
The police will be deploying 4 policemen and 2 other security agencies in a particular polling booth, as the case may be. So do we have the presence of security on ground at this point?
Call that yesterday we were with the DIG operation, where he informed us that 4 policemen will man a polling unit. And I can confirm to you here that at this particular unit in Eleyimi compound, we have 4 policemen at the polling unit here. If you can look at my back as well, we have security men, policemen around as well, manning the place. Also beside me here, you can equally see policemen moving. So there has been massive deployment as promised by the authorities of Nigerian police that adequate security will be provided for voters in Ekiti for today's exercise.
I could see some vehicles and motorcycles. Are they permitted to move at this time, or is just a personal arrangement on the part of some of the voters?
Like I said earlier on, the voters, we're having a last minute of movement of voters to their respective polling units where they are expected to perform their civic duties. What I feel is that maybe because it is not yet 8 o'clock when the exercise is expected to start, but I believe at the dot of 8 o'clock, security men have been deployed to kind of forestall movement of voters. We swing into action to really enforce ban on movement of people for the exercise to really commence and for sanity to be restored.
Being able to speak with the voters in respect to the observation as regards the preparation of INEC for this exercise?
With the faces of with what I'm saying with the voters, they are eager to go. They are ready. Even like I said, before the arrival of the materials, voters are on ground here. As early as 7 a.m., voters have been here. You can see behind me massive turnout. Contrary to expectation, as a result of what happened a few days ago, where there was disruption of a particular rally, people were thinking maybe this would kind of discourage voters from moving out. But with what we have here, I'm sure that we have a massive turnout of voters for this exercise as they are eager to go. You can see them here. They are ready they are ready for the exercise, and they are expecting the INEC ad hoc staff to flag off the exercise and for them to commend the accreditation and voting simultaneously.
Yesterday, we saw images of voters being induced by politicians to buy their vote. Is that playing out at that particular polling unit you are at the moment?
At this moment, there has not been anything like that. Like you said, yesterday, there are information, and we equally confirm that in some areas, especially in this Ado Ekiti, where such incident take place, but in this particular polling unit in Eyimi, nothing of such has been seen, and anytime we discover that, we'll be glad and we'll be ready to report that to Nigerians.
All right, Kunle, thank you very much for that update. We'll get back to you in the course of this discussion for more updates. That's our correspondent Kunle Ojo calling live from Ekiti to give us a first-hand account of what is happening in Ekiti right now. He just painted the mood of Ekiti people. They are set to elect their next governor. That's very interesting.
The race to Okeayoba Government House in Ado Ekiti, it starts today. You know, the onus lies upon the electorate to go all out to cast their vote, to exercise their franchise. You know, it is left for them if they are willing to stick with the stomach infrastructure, or they are willing to pick the poverty alleviation, or whatever promises the aspirants, as the case may be, had professed to them. So at this point, it is imperative that whatever they do today, the choice they make today, stays for the next 4 years.
I think John, I think Ekiti people understand the significance of this election. You know, is like a litmus test for them and for INEC too. You know, this in the history of Ekiti, no governor has been able to rule the state twice, except the Ikuben governor and Ekiti state. I mean, Ekiti, they want to write their history today. And whatever they do today will determine what the future will be, and I think they understand that. So we'll link up with other studio shortly, but before that, I would like you to know that we'll be having some special guests in the studio who will be doing, justice to our discussion. They will be taking turns, and what we have for you is total package for today, and we assure you you're going to have a nice time as regards this live broadcast. We're going to take a break now, and we'll be right back to continue this discussion.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has distributed all sensitive materials to the 16 local government areas of Ekiti State. The development followed the Commission's reception of the sensitive materials from the Central Bank of Nigeria on Thursday. The exercise witnessed heavy security presence inside and outside the Central Bank premises in Ado Ekiti to forestall any breakdown of law and order. Fielding questions from newsmen after leading party agents to inspect the sensitive materials meant for the 16 local government, the INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner for Ekiti State, Professor Abdul Ganiyu Raji, spoke on the delivery.
Delivery of the sensitive materials, that is the ballot boxes, the ballot papers, and all the necessary forms that will be used to transmit the results. So we are here at the Central Bank at Ado Ekiti, taking delivery of the materials, and the materials are moving straight to the necessary local governments for distribution.
Also speaking, the agents of the PDP and the APC spoke on the transparent inspection as the INEC Commissioner calls for the cooperation of all Ekiti citizens.
It was brought out from the strong room, and it was displayed to all the party agents that are available. We've checked. They gave us a checklist, and from all indication, they are one and the same. The checklist and the materials brought out from the CBN, they are one and the same.
The process, I know we've started well, and I pray we end well, because to me, so far, so good. It has been transparent. So upon the checklist was provided for each and every agent, and we are all okay with it.
I don't have any other thing that I would tell the people of Ekiti State, that I enjoyed living with them. They have cooperated so much, so I still want their cooperation until that Sunday and thereafter. So if we cooperate, we are going to have a free, fair and credible election. We have resolved that we are going to conduct a free, fair and credible election. So we are here today with all the party agents to come and see what we are doing. They are seated there, and so we don't have anything to hide.
The inspection of the sensitive materials was witnessed by the 35 party agents in the state amid security presence. The stakeholders meeting organized by the Independent National Electoral Commission to fine-tune strategies ahead of today's election ended abruptly. This is due to the inability of party faithfuls to maintain decorum. What ought to have been an avenue for critical stakeholders' engagement was cut short as all key players left in annoyance without any concrete resolution. In his remark, the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, reaffirmed the Commission's readiness to conduct a free, fair and credible election in the state, while dismissing allegations that some politicians will use the uncollected permanent voter card to read the poll. He gave the sequence for the results sheet at the polling units.
Transparency. All uncollected PVCs after Wednesday from all the 16 local government areas will be brought to our headquarters in Ekiti, and they will be warehoused under the control of the resident electoral commissioner until after the elections. No card will eventually slip through and end in the hands of unauthorized persons. Furthermore, after the votes have been sorted out and counted, a copy of the result sheet at each polling unit, the Form EC-8A, will be given to party agents as we have always done.
Also present at the forum, heads of security agencies led by the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris. The police boss said his officers and all the security agencies have mapped out strategies for peaceful conduct of the election. He appealed to politicians, electorate and other stakeholders in the state to refrain from acts that could set the state on fire, stressing that the police would not condone violence.
Let me advise our brother politicians and their supporters to desist from the following. A. Arming their thoughts and making hate speeches during and after the election to avoid precipitation of violence. B. Conduct which are likely to precipitate violence at the polling booths, such as conversing or soliciting for votes, wearing of party insignias, dissuading voters from voting for candidates of their choice, loitering, blaring of siren on the day of the election.
The pandemonium, which went on for several minutes, compelled INEC officials and security heads, alongside the various candidates, to dump the meeting midway.
It's still Ekiti decides, and today is going to be historical as regards the election taking place in Ekiti State. We're going to round up this session for now, and we're going to return by 10 for more updates. So stay with us, we'll be right back.
Galaxy Television, in conjunction with Itsubaroka Productions, present Oduguinha, the